It'll take like 2 minutes for people to trickle in anyways. I will give it a minute. Do any of us have the physical book with us? I have the ebook, so no.
I left it in my car, and I was like, maybe I should go get it, but no.
We're just gonna have to use our imagination.
I have highlights because I just can't even like begin to.
I have a couple highlights for the few pages that I ended up reading. So
here's the cover.
There we go.
It's so sad because the cover is just like
very beautiful.
It is very beautiful.
All right, we have 3 people. Hi guys, welcome to the live show for the Cover Whores Book Club. Our April pick was The Deep by Alma Katsu, and only one of us ended up finishing the book. So this is going to be an interesting live show, to say the least. And yeah, so I'm Heather, you're on my channel, and I got 65 pages into this book. So there you go, that's my status. Carly?
I'm Carly, I'm the other co-host. I finished the book like 5 minutes ago. And yeah.
And your rating?
The rating? Oh, 2 stars.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm Riley, and I got halfway. And I have thoughts.
I think halfway is like a good point. I tried to get 100 pages, but I was just like, you know, I just do not have the time. Carly, could you give us a synopsis of the book since you're the only one who finished?
Yeah. So The Deep is about so many different characters, but we mainly focus a girl named Annie, who is a stewardess on the Titanic, and she is now going back to be on the, do you pronounce it Britannica?
Britannica, yeah.
Yeah.
She is going back to be a nurse on the Britannica, which is like the Titanic's sister ship, in like 4 years later.
Oh my god. I am so sorry. A bird just ran into my window. So the birds also don't like this book. Holy that scared the shit out of me. I am so sorry. Continue.
Anyway, she's back on the Britannica, the sister ship to the Titanic, 4 years later. Even though, you know, the ship sinking was a pretty traumatic experience for her. And she's starting to get some memories back about that time. And that's really like all I can say, I guess. Like there's some paranormal, like haunting things that she's remembering that she doesn't quite understand about her first trip on the Titanic.
Yes. So I guess we could start off like the points of why we didn't like this book so much.
Yeah, y'all talk about the point in which you stopped reading and like why you stopped reading.
Yeah. So I stopped pretty early on, mainly because there were 2 main things. One, I really couldn't get into the writing style. Like I kept thinking like Jay Kristoff was like over this woman's shoulder because the metaphors, it was like every third sentence was like this new metaphor. And like at first I was like, okay, that's a cute, like we love a cute little metaphor moment. Like I can get behind it. Like I even highlighted the first, I thought the prologue was like really nice. Where is it? Yeah, like the first like chapter prologue part was like, I was like, all right, I'm down with this. But then the constant metaphors, and I'm going to bring up my notes that I have. So first one I have, he throws the nub of his cigarette over the railing, his eye following its motion, like a flying dash against the repeating whitecaps. Like, okay, sure, whatever. Nothing too crazy. But then in like the same page, she then wrote, she is more like the cigarette itself, passed from one hand to mouth to earth, sucking dry, then forgotten. Or perhaps she's the smoke blown into the air, made invisible at the meeting of the lips. It's like, and there were like 5 of those every single page. So I just could not take this book seriously. It was so melodramatic, and it was it was a mess. And secondly, I thought it was so weird how casually the Titanic and the like traumatic experience of that was pushed over.
Yeah.
Like, I was able to forgive it a little bit because she was all like, oh, she was drawn to the sea still despite the traumatic experience, which I guess I could see that. I mean, people interpret their trauma in various different ways. I'm sure there are plenty of cases where people experience something traumatic and like go back to similar things, but it was also how other people responded to the Titanic. Like one of the guys on the ship, he was talking to her about the Titanic, or he was talking to her and she was like, yeah, I was on the Titanic. I'm sure you want to ask me about that, huh? It's like, why would you bring that up at first meeting? Like, you would think that she would like keep that in. I don't know. It was just so strange.
I know what Annie's going through. I just kind of want to give, like, after we hear Riley and why she stopped, I kind of want to give like a full recount.
No, please do. Yeah, because I need to know.
Okay.
So I stopped, well, because first of all, like you were saying, I just could not suspend my disbelief for why she like left this asylum, or why they made her leave the asylum and go back onto a ship. It did not make sense to me at all. And like the main reason why I wanted to read this was because I thought it was horror and that there was gonna be like all these like paranormal ghosts and like scary stuff. And I got halfway and I'm telling you, I wasn't scared once.
I was hoping for like American Horror Story Murder House on the Titanic.
Yes.
Ooh,
yeah.
You know?
That would have been amazing. I would have kept reading that.
Yeah. That's not
also the doctor like encouraged her to leave. He was like, you need a job and you need a job on a ship.
In fact, like the whole reason, like the whole haunting has nothing to do with the ship. So let's get into it.
Okay, wait, I just need to highlight this question real quick, or this comment. There's no secret stuff.
God.
I can't. Oh my god. Okay.
We all know that Annie, we first find Annie when she's in an asylum, and her parents have written to her saying, hey, bitch, come home. And she's like, no, or they don't know where she's at. And then she hears from Violet, who was on the Titanic with her, asking her to get a job on the Britannica. And so she goes on to the doctor tells her to leave. She goes on the boat and she sees, she starts recounting memories of being on the Titanic. So we know she for some reason is away from her family when she gets on the Titanic, and she gets on there, has this immediate connection to Mark Fletcher, who is married to Caroline, who have the baby on Dean. Or I don't know how to pronounce that baby's name. That was the worst. I just could not. But and she has this weird connection to the baby too, and it's kind of like weird. And then we have some characters doing seances. We have just random characters with random plots. I'll get into the reason I hated that part even more so later on. But just to focus on Annie and Mark's story and Caroline. So they continue on the boat. Weird things start happening, like jewelry's going missing. The baby is starting to get sicker and sicker for some reason. They put Caroline, they like medicated her with cocaine because they thought she was going crazy. Things like that. And then we go back to 1916 on the Britannica, and Annie sees Mark on the Britannica, and she's like, yo, you're alive, you're here, like we can finally link up, be together. And he thinks she's crazy and all that. And then we go back to 1912 again, and there's just like Mark is telling her about his past love, Lillian. So this is what happens in the actual timeline, not the timeline of the book. So Annie has an affair with the priest in her town, Father Desmond. Yeah. And he's the one who tells her God loves good girls, and that's why she's always clutching her crucifix, because he made her feel so bad that he made her like get rid of his oath to God, and she got pregnant, and she gave herself an abortion, And when her mom found her, her mom ran to the church and started praying instead of helping her bleeding daughter. And when she got back, her daughter was gone. And that is when Annie went out to the beaches, and she, I guess, I don't know, like came in contact with a witch or someone, but at that same time frame, Lillian, Mark's, lover, had just given birth to Ondine, because Ondine is Lillian's child. Yeah. So the thing is Lillian had gotten pregnant right after Mark had lost all of their life savings that they were going to take and live together. So after they befriended Caroline was like, I will give you guys money if you give me your child that you're going to have, because they didn't want to have a child and be like, have a bastard. But if Caroline had a bastard, because she's rich and in the upper class, it would be better for her and the child. So this is just so much. It's so much. So, but Mark and Caroline fall in love while they're living together, while Lillian is, baking the baby. And Lillian finds out, after she has the baby, she finds out that that Caroline has bought Mark and herself a ticket for the Titanic, and they're going to like run away together, even though that wasn't exactly what was going to happen. It was kind of a misunderstanding. And so Lillian cut all her hair, cut her wrist, and then jumped off the Thames. And that is when she died. And this witch, who had never been mentioned before earlier in the book, suddenly was like, hey, you want to make a bargain? Give me an innocent life, your daughter, and I'll bring you back. And so she agrees to the bargain, and the innocent life is her daughter, and she gets put into Annie's body, but Annie's soul is still fighting. Yeah. So that is the reason that Annie is immediately drawn to Mark and Ondine, because she has Lillian's soul trying to fight for dominance inside of her the entire time she's on the Titanic. And that is why she has all these like she can't remember some things, and why she is in the asylum, because she just like has this thing in her head that she can't figure out. And so Lillian is just trying to basically kill her daughter so that her and Mark can live happily ever after the whole time. And that's why like she like ended up like Annie ended up mixing like cocaine into Ondine's milk that she would take to her, like, and things like that. That's why the baby was getting sick. And I'm
so glad that cocaine is a recurring.
Yeah, I don't really know what even happened to the baby, I guess, when they fell off the boat. So like Caroline and the baby fell off the lifeboat when it was sinking, and Annie went in after them, but Annie didn't save Caroline, only saved the baby, and ended up hitting her head, and she doesn't remember what happened to the baby after then. But apparently the baby was still saved, and she now has a family in America and she's like, okay. So anyways, she finally realizes all of this, that Lillian's inside of her and all that. And she goes and she tells Mark, and Mark is like, oh. And then Mark takes hold of the Britannica and decides that he wants to end it all. And he wants to keep his baby girl safe, so he drives the boat straight into the German missiles, and everyone dies.
That's how the book ends? The book just blows up?
Uh-huh. That's how the Britannica like went down, was German missiles from submarines. So everybody dies. Yeah, except for Ondine. She's living in America with her.
Wait, how did the baby leave? How did the baby escape all that?
No one knows. Well, like she went down with the Titanic, but Annie didn't save her, but someone else did. They don't know how she got to America. They just know that the witch told her that she's okay. She's still alive.
That's what I'm saying.
I have no idea. The writing is so bad. I had to read these lines over and over again just to make sure I knew what I just read. I was like, what?
I'm just like, I don't even know how to process all of this.
So, like, the only paranormal thing was just that weird possession thing? There wasn't really any ghosts or anything?
So, like, the reason, like, that little kid had a seizure at the beginning when they were doing that seance is because Lillian was trying to, like, come forward more in Annie. And, you know, rip Tommy. He had a good life, 12 years of it, but he died. And then my biggest problem is that we had all these side characters that we kept going to, like Day, his name's David, but David and Leslie and Lucy and the Astors and all them, and they were meant for nothing.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I stopped too.
Yeah, and my biggest problem with it is that she ended up making Lucy gay, and then you had the gay boxing couple, and to me, it just felt like they were just there to be side characters that are gay, but had no impact on the main storyline whatsoever. And I just found a problem with that because it was like just putting, I don't know, like, I'm all for like having diversity in your book, but like give them like something to do in the plot. And not just a side story that feels useless. Like, you could have skipped all of those chapters and still known exactly what was happening. I mean, as much as you could, you know.
That was crazy. That was a mess.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, and I'm sure I've missed some things, but yeah, there's a scene where Lillian completely recounts the time where she cut her wrists, shaved her head, like she used the same razor, and there was she said she just looked insane, and she just ran through the streets of London and then just jumped. And I was like, what?
Plot twist. Full circle. Oh my, wow. That is,
yeah.
No.
We get another chapter from Annie's mother, and she's like, it's time to finally clean out my daughter's room. I blamed myself so much. I wonder who the father of her baby was. The only person who ever asked about her is Father Desmond, and I know he couldn't be the father because he is dedicated to the Lord. And I was like, oh Lord. Oh God.
Wow. I really just have nothing to say about that. I thought it was going into this book, I thought it was gonna be like Into the Drowning Deep.
Yeah. Should I give it 1 star?
Ghost, yes.
Yeah.
Like ghost mermaids.
Yeah. It's not, like I said, there's nothing that has to do with ghosts that has to do with the ship.
Wait, so did the Titanic sink the same way it does? It really just hit an iceberg and that's it?
Okay, so listen, this is what happened. Annie comes to the realization that Caroline is possessed. She's the one who's hurting Undine. And she's like, you know what I think happened? I think Caroline and Mark had an affair, but Caroline was evil, possessed by a demon, and forced him into it. And so they murdered Mark's past love, Lillian, and then stole her baby. And they're running away to America on this boat. So she goes up to the port, the place where they do the little typey, the Morse code. And she's like, I need you to tell everyone that there's a stolen baby on this ship. And they're like, ma'am, we just got a ton of reports of icebergs. We're going to handle that first, okay? And she's like, no, the stolen baby is more important. And then it's not, because the icebergs, you know.
Wow. Interesting.
So what was the point of having it be set on the Titanic?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I think just to give it a setting where you go back on the boat twice.
And so people would buy the book.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to read that.
You could have done the whole plot without even being on the water whatsoever.
That is so disappointing. Wow.
Yeah.
What lost potential.
Yeah. And I'm just happy Violet survived the Britannica as well. Because only 53 people died on the Britannica. But that was mainly where the biggest explosion was, where the captain's quarters was, which is where Mark and Annie slash Lillian were at the
It's
time.
just like there are so many things that you could have done with like the Titanic sinking and its sister ship getting blown up. Like there is just so many things you could have done with that.
Because it's like someone said, Carly, how did you find the will to read that until the end? I really want to finish my owls. And I was 65% of the way through because I thought a lesbian had been introduced and I was really excited for it, but then she was never mentioned again. So
the disappointment.
What a yeah.
Oh, also Caroline was in love with Lillian as well, a bisexual queen.
Well, I mean, that's good. Yeah, Monty, you could have done like I said, you could have done like an Intro to Drowning Deep theme with like killer mermaids. You could have had like the ship be like haunted with ghosts. You could have done like
I think like doing something kind of inspired by like when if you see like Unsolved, they go on the USS Mary, which is like a haunted ship because people died on it. So if you did something like that, like I don't know, they did do something similar. She did do something similar to the movie Titanic, where one of the gay men, David, he was accused. Well, him and Mark stole a bunch of money from the Astors, who was the lady who was pregnant on the ship. And then Leslie, his boyfriend, is like, it's either me or the money. We're not doing this again. And so Leslie goes and takes the money back, and they're like, they catch him. And so he goes down for his boyfriend. He gets arrested. And so when the ship starts to sink, he's handcuffed in the bottom of the boat like Jack was in the movie, and someone goes and saves him. The pregnant lady goes and saves him. And then there's, speaking of the lesbian, they couldn't do with it. Don't you think if you're a woman who's like married, but you really want to be with other women, but your husband's like super rich, if you're told, hey, if you get on this boat, your husband can't get on this boat, and you can go off and survive this and go off and just live your life as a widow. Like you can just be like, oh, I can't marry again. I'm so sad. My husband died on the Titanic and I have all this money. You could just be a lesbian for the rest of your life. But no, she's like, no, we must dress you up in drag and put you on this boat. So she dresses her husband up in drag and puts him on the boat. Like, what the fuck? Like,
what the hell? Yeah. I did. Me and Riley didn't finish. Carly finished, and she's gonna give it a 1 star. So
yeah, I am.
We didn't like that. We didn't like it at all. Also, another thing it could have been cool is like, this doesn't really have any paranormal aspects to it, but like imagine if it was like a revolution type thing, because like everybody was rich as fuck on the Titanic. Like that was the thing. Like it was hella expensive.
Also, there is no conversation of class in this.
Yeah, it could have been like a cool thing where like a crazy like anarchist like snuck on the Titanic and they like drove it into an iceberg or something like that. That could have been cool.
In fact, probably the most unrealistic thing about the book is the fact that the classes on the boat interact with each other so much. When that, if you look back at history of that time and like actual recounts of the Titanic, they did not interact at all. It was almost like being on 3 different boats.
This is just a sad time.
Yeah,
for everyone.
It just could have done. It could have done so much. I don't know what. It has a lot of little elements I think you could have pushed together to make a good story, but this was not it. And it just doesn't, it's just like, poor Annie. She was brought into this for no reason. None at all.
And like, where was the witch during this whole thing?
No. You don't hear about the witch until Annie looks in the mirror. She's on the Britannica and she's feeling weird because her and Mark just had this argument, and she's looking in the mirror and suddenly it's not her reflection. It's this girl with like a shaved head and bloody arms. And the reflection is like, surprise, that's your Lillian.
But like, who is the witch? Where did she come from? What did she want?
Let me see what she calls it. It's like called a dub. I wanted to look it up and see what the like origins of it is. Dubheza. Okay, they do mention it's like a tale they tell at the very beginning of the book, like on page 84. They tell the story of the Dubheza. It's the Dubheza looks out for all sailors and men at sea. So my guess is like she's like a witch, maybe from Irish stories or something like that, and she is a witch of the sea. And so when Lillian fell into the Thames, I don't know how to pronounce that, and Annie was dying on the beaches, she was like an opportunity to...
I mean, I know there's Danu, which is an Irish goddess, and she's a river goddess.
It's Dubhesa.
I don't know.
I've never heard of it. I'm gonna Google it.
Because I think Danu she's like
it's Irish folklore, and the name means it's not even Irish folklore, basically. It's just an Irish name, and it means dark beauty. But there's no like, is there any stories about it?
So Ursula, that would have been interesting.
The only thing that comes up is like stories of Selkies. So,
so she didn't even.
She's not. It's not even a real Irish myth or anything. So,
well, how disappointing! Because again, a like sea witch causing the destruction of both of these ships because they're all like, "Fuck the industrial."
So Annie does see the Dubheza sometime on the boat. She's like, when she's having like one of her like fever dreams, basically, she like sees her sitting in a corner for like a second. So I had a problem with it not being alluded to enough though, because I don't know. I mean, it wasn't. It just wasn't.
Yeah, it sounded like it came out of as soon as you said witch and like possession, I was like, what?
Yeah, like I read half of it and I did not see any of that coming.
As much as like I knew there was something that was going on with Annie and Father Desmond based on like the little like flashback she was having to that, I never thought she had an abortion, and that was really surprising to me. And it was, I don't know, it was just a weird scene.
And you would have thought that would have like
that would have been more to the baby. Yeah, she would have connected that more to having this feeling towards Ondine, but she didn't. She just said that she had to protect this child. Like she just knew she had to protect this child. But all in the same time, she had that feeling, but she was also the one killing her.
Like it would have made more sense if like she had the abortion and then like she went to the sea to like, I don't know, cleanse herself or whatever, and then like Ondine or whoever, whatever that baby was, then that baby was like possessed or like a new soul or like something like that to draw like connection.
It's like how in American Horror Story Coven they have to give the death god daddy man an innocent life, and Lillian didn't care enough about Ondine. She said, I cared more about you, like being with Mark, than our child. Obviously, because I was going to give it to Caroline anyway, so I thought it would be a good enough sacrifice, so she made the bargain. But Mark was not okay with that, so he killed them all.
I believe it's adult. I believe it's like, yeah.
It has like sex and stuff on page a few times, except for the gays. They don't have on page sex.
No.
I noticed that it was mentioned many times. It was fade to black many times for them, but not for the straights. I just have a problem with her use. I guess with her use of queer people in this book.
Yeah, that's a one star to me on its own.
Yeah,
I
said they just felt like props to say that your book has diversity, but like I totally am committed to books having diversity, but if you aren't using them for the plot in any way, like not even that their queerness for the plot, just them as people having actions in the plot, then it's just stale.
Yeah, it's like when Disney tries to have just like this minor lesbian cop character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
At least she didn't arrest those people in Onward. So that was something. But they could have not been there, and the same thing would have played out with Lillian, Annie, and Mark. Also, the names. Who just was called Mark?
I'm just like so mad at the loss of potential, because like I was really excited to read this. I thought it sounded so cool.
Yeah.
Like paranormal Titanic. Like that sounds so cool.
It's not what it said it was. Like there's no other hauntings besides that of, like, Caroline feels like something is haunting is happening, probably because Annie's sneaking into her room every night and poisoning her child. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
let's see what Goodreads synopsis. I'm not going to read the whole thing because I'm lazy, but let's just see what it says. It says someone or something is haunting the Titanic. Already from that synopsis, not true.
Because it happens even before that.
Yeah, this is the only way to explain the series of misfortunes that have plagued the passengers on the ship from the moment they set sail. So it's happened before they even set sail.
Yes.
So incorrect. Now suspended in an eerie, unsettling twilight zone.
Oh.
Listrians, maiden voyage. A number of passengers, blah blah blah, are convinced that something sinister is happening. No, just all not true. Exactly. That's that's the summary of her character. Well, that was a mess. That was a flop. You know, I hate this more than the Hazelwood.
Yeah. I hated it more than the Hazelwood. Like, I actually would like consider reading the second Hazelwood book after I read the first one, just to see what mess happens. But like, I don't think I would ever pick up something from this author again.
No,
like, seriously.
Yeah, she has another book that sounded kind of interesting, and now I'm just like, no.
I know. I was just looking at her Goodreads profile, and like I just see that she just has a novella called The Devil's Scribe. I don't know what it is, but I was just like, yeah, I would like that.
I don't know. Like, I feel like you could have taken elements from this story and made a smaller and better story. Like, even just like the story of Annie and Desmond, I think would have been interesting to see how Annie would have overcome the gaslighting that man did to her, basically. So, well, I don't know. It's just, I can't believe I finished it. I can't. I like. There was a point where I was like, if I don't find out what happens, I just. Oh, and someone said, I texted you, Heather, and I was like, someone on Goodreads said the ending was predictable, so I have to find out what it is because I cannot think of a single thing like way this will end. I don't think it was predictable. I mean, I knew Lillian was probably going to be connected to this somehow because we kept mentioning her, and I kind of had this like thought that like she might be possessing Caroline or Annie, but I didn't know like the backstory of Annie and the backstory of Lillian, like that all that coming together was what was like. I was like, what? Like what?
Also, were they like in? I feel like also like they should have been like from the same like town.
Yeah, they were from different countries, like Ireland and London.
The connection, the reaches were.
It feels like so many different stories, just like all pushed into one.
Yes.
Like I would at some point at the end of the book, I was like, you could throw in aliens in here, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm-hmm. Also, like there are always going to be people like it could be the most outlandish story you've ever read, and people are going to be like, predictable. I called it. Like, bitch, you didn't. No, you didn't. You're a liar. It's like if one person is involved or a key part of the ending, they're like, called it. It's like they're the main character.
Yeah, I want to look at my highlights. Oh, I highlighted like every time Annie was obsessed with Undine. Like every time she was like, I had the strongest urge to see that baby or something. Because I thought that was weird, and I was like, this is gonna be something. So I highlighted that every time. Annie knew, she felt, that baby needed her from the moment she'd seen her, which is so strange because she was also trying to kill it. I just don't get it. I mean, I guess it has to do with the abortion, which is a whole different like problem, like narrative in some. So yeah,
that's so weird.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, did anyone in the chat read it? I saw a couple of people being like, so glad I didn't finish it, or so glad I didn't pick this one up. I know a person in our Goodreads group finished it and they gave it 3 stars, so.
Oh, I didn't even check the Goodreads group. I forgot we had that.
I always forget. I'm terrible at it, but I was like, just a habit, I guess. Well, are you guys reading anything? Or Carly, what are you picking up next?
My Kindle Unlimited is about to not renew again, so I'm gonna binge read the rest of the Lock and Key graphic novel series.
Oh, I love those.
I'm obsessed with them. Much better paranormal, supernatural books than this. Very, very creepy.
Yes.
Good. So I want to watch the Netflix show.
Heather, you will be excited. I'm starting this tomorrow.
Yes, Mitch. Oh my god. You are going to love it so much. Like it's gonna be on your favorites. I can see that with confidence. It's gonna be on your favorite of 2020. Like it's so fucking good.
Maybe I will put that as one of the options for my TBR for next month.
Please, it's so good. I don't even like Friends to Love. I mean, I don't hate Friends to Lovers. I'm just like, no spice. Boring. You guys like each other from the beginning? Okay, whatever.
Monty said, what is reading? I don't know her. This is the first thing I've read in like over a week. So, and I read it in less than 24 hours. So there's that. I don't know what that means about me.
Yeah, I've been reading like big adult fantasies and I need a break, I think. Yeah, definitely recommend not buying it. Like if you want to try it out, get it from a library or something, but yeah, no, definitely.
And like this book is like pretty popular because I went to like get it from my library instead of buying the ebook because I didn't want to spend any money on it because I was not confident that I would like it. But it was a 8-month wait.
Same for me for the audio
Libby app. So, and that's like the Libby app only from my library only borrows ebooks, like not audiobooks, ebooks for 7 days. So like that's like a lot of holds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
170 pages. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I am reading Mistborn right now. It's pretty good. I'm hopefully gonna finish it tomorrow because I think my audiobook expires in like 4 days. So
I think I'm gonna finish The Princess Diarist tonight. I have like 3.5 hours left of the audiobook.
I've heard good things about that.
Yeah, I mean Carrie Fisher's just a gem. So
yeah, I've never seen anything with her in it because I've never watched Star Wars. I
mean, so like I didn't get into Star Wars until like after the new trilogy began. So I'd only been a fan of technically a fan of Carrie's like 6 months before she died. So like I didn't know much about her life. So I'm like learning like so much. I didn't know her and Harrison Ford were a thing ever. And she's like talking about that. And I was like, that's spicy. She's just And she narrates it, and then her daughter Billie Lourd also does some narration. That's true. I think that's the fun. I don't think if I was physically reading it, I would like it as much as I do with her just like telling me stories of her life.
The shade of this comment right here. You have like 8 books of my favorite, but nothing to read. You know what? Keep it that way. I don't want you to read my favorites because you're not going to like any of them.
I also want to read Wishful Drinking. Yes. After I've read this, I want to read Wishful Drinking.
I want to read
it is sad because I do have all these. I checked out like 10 books right before our library closed, and I haven't read any of them. And they're just here with me for the foreseeable future. So,
like, I have Chain of Gold. Like, I'm so lucky that I got Chain of Gold as one of my library books. I do
have the Inheritance trilogy, so that is that one. But like, I have books that already had like a 6-month wait at my library, and I have them, and it's going to be a longer wait for those people.
Yeah.
So, oh well.
Riley, have you read 100,000 Kingdoms yet? I'm pretty sure you mentioned it.
Yeah, I did. I loved it.
Yes, good.
That is also on my TBR for next month.
I have a copy of this. I went to a signing with Katie Rosepool, and I am waiting until I get the audiobook for it. But I've heard really good things about it, but I haven't seen a whole lot of people read it.
I'm also waiting for the audiobook for this one. Maybe it could be a cover horse pick. Who knows?
Maybe. I don't really know if I want to do a cover horse pick for May just because of Bookfest in Bed.
Yeah, I think if we did one, it should be an author that we're going to talk about at Bookfest in Bed, and Bookfest in Bed just be the live show.
Yeah. And but the only books I want to read for Bookfest in Bed are like arcs. So that wouldn't really work out. Like, I would love to do Where Dreams Descend, but that doesn't come out till June.
You're right. Maybe we could do just like a
we could do like I kind of want to do a Bookfest in Bed like planning video or planning live.
We could do that and talk about our favorite covers from the authors we're talking to.
Yeah, that could be cute.
We do have some more fun things for the book club though in the works. So.
Oh yeah, for maybe July.
Uh-huh.
All right. Oh, rereading 100,000 Kingdoms next month. Yes, very excited. I still need to finish the third book, the third and final book, but obviously I can't do that until my library opens up.
Has anyone read Fortuna Sworn? Because I just got that in the mail, and
No, but I want to.
I'm like excited to read it.
I have it.
It just gives me like a good like in between of Holly Black and Sarah J. Maas.
Yeah.
I feel like that will be like really like make me get out of my reading slump.
I really like the cover, but I read like 2 chapters of it, and it's urban fantasy.
Yeah, well, I guess like that's what I mean by like in between. I think it has fairies more like Sarah J. Maas, but is urban fantasy like Holly Black. That makes sense.
Mm.
I also don't really like werewolves. And I'm pretty sure that they were like mentioned in like the first 2 chapters.
There's I think there's a lot of supernatural characters in it.
That might be true.
Different species.
I'm just not a werewolf person.
But better. I would do anything for like a Teen Wolf type series.
See, I think that's the key. I think if you really love Teen Wolf, you really like werewolves. But I didn't really like Teen Wolf that much.
I was a Teen Wolf stan. I had a stan for Teen Wolf. I was a Skyzik shipper. Scott.
Oh yeah. No, I was a Scott and Styles shipper. Whatever their name is.
Skiles. Yeah.
Oh, I know Riley is very excited for you.
Yes, I love that book.
I really want to read that. I really want to read TJ Klune in general. I feel like I'm gonna love him.
What is it about?
It's about this like orphanage that has these magical children that are also like super dangerous. And the main character, he's kind of like a magical children's social worker. So he goes there to like check on them, and he has a romance with the like head of the orphanage. Oh, it's just so good.
Wow, that does sound interesting.
It really does sound like Every Heart a Doorway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It has really similar
I was
vibes.
thinking Every Heart a Doorway and Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Kids.
Yeah.
Same, Monty. Same. I don't think I even watched.
Season 3 was the best season, though.
Is that the one with Dark Styles?
Yes. The Kitsune season?
I thought it was just so... Once they brought the Kitsune, I was like, what are we... Let's go back to the werewolves. Like, let's not...
That's the best season for like the character development and the character relationships. Like,
I don't know. Maybe I'll rewatch it one day. Yes, he does have Wolf Song, and I am going to read that for sure, and I'm probably gonna love it because it's gay. So,
that is not at all what I thought. The House and Me. That is not when I saw that title. That is not what I thought it would be about at all.
So not as interested now. Oh my god.
No, I don't agree. I'm more interested now. Oh my god.
The season split in half. You know what? I think I remember that. And I also was like, what are you doing?
I feel like Teen Wolf was one of the first like CW series to start doing that like A-B thing.
Yeah.
And the 100. And now Riverdale does that and all that. Oh, but you know what? I just finished Legacies, which is the Vampire Diaries spinoff. I just finished season 2. And it's season finale, which I really doubt it gets renewed. So I'm just going to say series finale. Like ended. And it felt like an A season ending. It was really bad, but I'll watch anything to do with the Vampire Diaries.
I almost watched that show because I thought the lead actress was hot, and all I saw was like the poster, like the promotional poster.
Literally, like almost every character is bisexual, and so that's fun. But like, the characters are so annoying though. They're so.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
Season 2 feels like Riverdale and Once Upon a Time got smushed, and the Vampire Diaries all got smushed together. There's a Krampus. A Krampus episode. They fight Krampus.
Okay.
Santa Claus and Krampus have a showdown in the middle of the Salvatore house. So
what is going on in those CW writer rooms?
Drugs.
I would like to just sit in a boardroom or like a writing room for CW shows.
Well, like the whole thing about Legacies is like there's a new monster in every episode because of like this overarching arc, which I already don't like because I don't like episodal things like that. But like the monsters, they just got so creative. So creative.
I like it when shows do that. That's why like the first 5 seasons of Supernatural are the best because you get the episodic things and then like towards the end you got that overarching plot.
You should watch Legacies because it does have a supernatural vibe, but it's like absurd to the point that it's funny. Plus you get all the like Vampire Diaries and there's like a lot of diversity actually. So
maybe. I did see her complaining about I guess I shouldn't say complaining. That's a bit harsh. But I did see her not liking the age gap. I love an age gap. So I don't give a shit.
Oh, that makes sense. They said Legacies was renewed for a 3rd season and they didn't finish season 2 filming because of the virus. That makes sense. It did not end good at all. I was like, that's it? That's the end of season 2? Like
12 pages? That's like a Lesson in Thorns action right there, except the second one. What's the second one called?
Feast of Sparks.
Yeah. I was not going to read that book until the 3rd book came out, and I saw that cover, and I was like, you know what, Sierra Simone, you know what you just did?
Yep.
Did that.
Tell me why the actor who plays Alaric has you blocked on Twitter. That's the best thing I've ever heard.
What? Why?
Oh my god. That's so sad.
I love Alaric.
I have tried to watch Buffy and it's just too cheesy for me. The only show I can watch that's like that cheesiness value is Charmed because it's not as like serious toned as Buffy is, I feel like.
Buffy, I was supposed to start Buffy during quarantine with my roommate, but now we've moved back to our hometowns and I'm not going to do it now. So, no. Haha.
And like, they're not hot also. It's not like True Blood where like everybody's hot. It's like it's got like the 2000 like late 90s 2000s just popped out.
There's like a filter over it and like the makeup is weird.
Yeah.
And I only have room in my heart for one vampire show, really. So
it was less cheesy. But I get it. I totally get not. Yeah, it's just I think I just moved past it. Season 3 of Buffy. I'm not gonna watch Buffy. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just sorry. He was racist via COVID-19. Wow, that's.
That sucks.
I mean, I am not surprised.
I'm not surprised. So.
I mean, I don't think he's been in anything since Vampire Diaries.
Oh, he literally has been playing the same character for like years and years now. So
Yeah.
he's probably not getting any other work. And his character is literally like so one note in Legacies. It's just hilarious.
He's the only one from Vampire Diaries that went on to it, right?
He was no. I mean, you have some cameos, but yeah, he's the only one that's in every episode. He was Warner in Legally Blonde. Oh my god. Well,
wait, was that her ex?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, trash.
Wow, you start trash.
Yeah.
Then you become a vampire hunter on the Vampire Diaries, which is trash. It's like Vampire Cops, and then you become racist. So.
The only valid vampire hunters are vampires themselves. Like, if you're not a like the trope of vampires killing vampires, I will live for that shit all the time. Oh, listen,
in like the second to last season of the Vampire Diaries, there is a vampire hunter. She's hot, so
love that. Also, was it Damon's best friend that like drank from vampires?
That's a lark. Damon's best friend is a lark.
No, I'm talking about the one in later seasons, the one that has that romance with Bonnie.
Enzo,
yeah.
Enzo?
No, I could do that.
I don't remember. It's been so long since I watched that.
I could have sworn he was like, well, somebody on that show was like addicted to vampire blood. I feel like. I don't know.
I mean, that sounds familiar, but I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, I feel like there's a few times that happened, probably. So
I want to rewatch True Blood.
I was not allowed to watch True Blood as a child, and I would like to watch it.
You would love True Blood. It is your Southern excellence, and it actually has gays and beautiful, like, sexy ass vampires. Yes.
Yeah. The Michelson dad. Yeah, that is.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, you're right. Oh, Olivia, hello. I know you really liked this book. We all hated it. So I'm so glad that you made an appearance here because I saw that you read it early in the month and I was like, oh, I'm so excited. And
I gave like a full recount of the plot or what I could muster of the plot. And it was not good. Like,
yeah, it was
my recount of it was not good. It was kind of all over the place. But to be fair, I think the plot is all over the place.
Yes. Yeah. That was yeah.
Man, I am so mad at Ian for stopping his rewatch of that show because I wanted to rewatch it, so I'm going to do it again by myself.
You know, Carly just explained it to me like 10 minutes ago, and I don't know either.
I need those red lines and like a board with all the lines and all that, like in Teen Wolf.
Yes. Just to draw connections.
It was just so I need to use like a color coding to talk about when it was 1912 and when it was 1916.
And also those years are way too close to each other.
Yeah. I mean, you could just say even Titanic and Britannica are so they sound so similar kind of that I just hate the name of Britannica so much. Yeah. It doesn't sound like a ship's name. It sounds like a white girl born in 2021. You know what I mean?
That was hacks. Move it to a 3-star or a 2-star.
I'm giving it a 1-star. So
that cover deserves like a 5-star, but everything else is context.
Well, the cover makes it look like there's mermaids.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know what was a better ship haunting story? The haunted episode of The Sweet Life on Deck. with
I don't remember it, but yes.
There's an old Southern belle haunting the boat because her and her past lover, who was like a captain on the ship, didn't weren't together or something, and her name was Jezebel, and I loved her. So.
Excellent. Jezebel, what a like ghost name.
I know.
Truly.
Oh,
all right, well, if you guys can give us some topics or questions, if not, we can't just sit here and talk about nothing. Yeah, I thought it was going to be a mermaid book too. Disappointing. You guys want a ghosty, haunting book set on the sea, near the sea. Read Haunting Sorrows. Just saying.
My blog while you read it.
Queen of giving books 1 star.
I am that.
Wait, Brody, did you like the book?
I would like to know why. In like the purest way possible. I would literally like to hear the reasons why. Also, Brody just knows.
How likely are you to lace your milk with cocaine? Definitely not likely at all, because I'm scared of drugs that are actually drugs. I'll lace it with something else.
When I make with how much sugar I put in my whipped coffee.
That part. Literally, that Dalgona coffee is basically cocaine.
I'm literally gonna make one after this live stream, because I was planning on making one for the live stream, but then I took time to like actually put on makeup on and forgot I had to finish the book. So
yeah, I know there is. I haven't read it, but a lot of people recommend Ice Massacre. I don't know who the author.
I want to read Ice Massacre because I started the graphic novel version of Ice Massacre, which is like uploading periodically on some website. And so I read like a few pages of it to see if I would like the novel. And so I do want to read Ice Massacre, but I tried reading Into the Drowning Deep and I got like 40% in, and I absolutely hated it. But not because I think it's a bad book, but because it was way too sciencey for me. Like I wasn't into it, reading it something that was like very heavily science influenced, and that was not the vibe I was looking for.
That is very valid. Olivia, I think
I read it.
I didn't read this one, but I have it on my TBR.
I read the whole series, and I loved it, but they're kind of trash.
I feel like you wouldn't like it because isn't it like very smutty? Aren't they very smutty?
Yeah, and not in the first book so much, but the rest of the series, yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if you would like that one, Olivia. You know what?
And they're very problematic too.
I mean, I see that cover and I'm like, yeah. Looks like some J.R. Ward shit right there.
Oh yeah.
Olivia, I want you, if you are in a Fae mood, I want Carly to do this too, and she hasn't read it for me. I have it, but I don't want to read it right now. I would need you to read Thorn Jack, because I don't know who the author is. Hold on, let me get the author, because Maddie from the Book Pusher, yeah, that's her tag. She said that it's better than The Cruel Prince. It's by Catherine Harbour. This is what the
wait. What is this called?
Here it is.
Going back.
It's like I mean, it's like a Fae book. It's about a girl who meets this.
I saw a 1-star guy that book one time, and it didn't like put me like away from it. I just know that it was. I was like, well, now I've seen 2 opinions.
I don't know if it's gonna. I don't think I'm gonna like it more than The Cruel Prince, because like I loved The Cruel Prince, but I am always looking for some Fae books. So I need somebody to read it and tell me if it's good.
I just want everyone to read Darkest Part of the Forest.
Yes,
absolutely. It's the best Holly Black book. It's better than The Cruel Prince. So just read that.
Fourth of the way through. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say the blurb for Thornjack says, it combining the sorcery of the night circus with the suspense of a secret history.
Well, I didn't.
The secret history didn't have any suspense to me, but I'm going to assume it's for the aesthetics, because every single time somebody blurbs a secret history, I'm like, or not blurbs it, but like compares them. I'm like, oh, that sounds nice, because like the concept of the secret history is cute. It's just
I haven't read The Secret History, but after Heather, I don't think I'm allowed to like it.
No.
Also, like that, and I hated The Night Circus, so that will be interesting.
Yeah, I DNF'd The Night Circus like twice.
I just saw the most beautiful fan art of The Night Circus by Jamil Creations, the person who's been doing all of the Crescent City fan art. You know what? I'm going to bring it up because it's that beautiful. It is. I literally almost picked up The Night Circus again because look at her. And, like, I didn't realize she wasn't, like, bones. Like, I didn't realize she was not skinny. So, love that. But
I just think that's like this synopsis for The Deep was a lie. The synopsis for The Night Circus is a lie. It's a lie. It's a bald-faced lie. I'm talking about Brody's comment.
Yes.
So Brody, fourth of the way through means nothing. Like, I'm not saying you will not like it, and I'm not saying you'll like it, but fourth of the way through that book means nothing because so much more has to happen. Don't go back and watch the beginning of this live stream because I everything.
Riley said she got halfway through, and as soon as Carly was recounting the plot, she was like, "I have no idea."
Yeah.
But and I would also wouldn't call it a spooky ocean book personally.
No.
After knowing what the actual spooky part was, I wouldn't call it that. But I do hope you enjoy it because I hope everyone enjoys books when they read them.
Exactly. Whipped coffee, not for you. But I mix hot cocoa powder with hazelnut coffee. That does sound interesting.
I was watching different ways to make the dalgona, that concept, but with matcha and hot chocolate and stuff like that. And they're interesting.
I would like to experiment because the instant coffee, man, I get anxiety so quick if I'm not in if I'm in a slightly anxious mood and I drink that, oh, it's done for. It's done.
I'm going to drink it, and I know it's late, but I'm drinking it so I can stay up and hunt for the villager I want on my island for hours.
Do that. I won't care. Into the Dread. Listen, Olivia, she made points though. That book is so science heavy. I was like, God damn, am I gonna
and I was listening to the audiobook and I didn't have the physical, and I was just confused constantly, and it's not really what I was looking for. It's never really what I'm looking for in books. And I think if I would have known that it was really science heavy, I would have never even picked it up. So it's not the book's fault. It's my fault.
You should have watched my review. You would have known. So you just showed your ass. Thank you. Just DNF it. DNF it. Just let it go. It's okay. Let it go into the.
Watch my recount of the plot.
Yeah. Ice Massacre is not sciencey. There you go. Lesbian tension. Beautiful. Delicious.
That's why I started the graphic novel first, to see if there was a lot of science stuff in it, or if it was really character based. And I think Ice Massacre is a lot more character based.
Yes. You're gonna download it. Beautiful. Love that. So happy. I've already ordered it. Say less. Beautiful. Felt the same way about Into the Drowning Deep. Oh yeah. Read the novella. Oh yeah, I haven't
read the novella.
Yeah.
The novella is really good. It's a lot less sciencey.
That's good too. Yes, it does have Scottish elements. Yes. See? Yeah, exactly. The Secret History was suspenseful. Yeah, I always, like I said, it's just every single time somebody compares their book to The Secret History, I don't get turned off as much as I hate The Secret History. I think of it more as the aesthetics of dark academia, or just the concept of it, because that book itself is just did you really like that book, or did the white men of academia say that you're supposed to like it and so you like it? That's what it sounds like to me.
Just read If We Were Villains.
It's literally the same book.
The same book, but I personally really liked it, but Heather did say it was slightly better.
Yeah, no, it's definitely better than The Secret History by far. It's just way more cohesive as a plot.
It's Shakespeare. It's Shakespeare. It's
that part. Right there. You are exactly right. The Secret History does not have aesthetics. It's just projected. You are absolutely correct.
Wow.
Now read To the Drowning Deep more. Yeah. Oh, well, then you'll really like it.
Yeah, I really like it. I'm one of those like literature and history people for my whole life, so.
Yes, Riley just did. You said you read the novella.
Yeah.
See, I've heard people say this, but I've also heard people say that it's not like that. Like, I think Jamie from Leo Reads, who really loves The Secret History, and she really hated If We Were Villains, which I understand, because even someone who hated The Secret History, I was like, this is plagiarizing The Secret History. Like,
I'm glad I read If We Were Villains first.
Yeah. It's the exact book.
It's one of my all-time favorite books now. But I think I still would have liked it better because of Shakespeare elements. Like, I'll read anything that has like some kind of like connection to Shakespeare. That's why I loved Phallus Fair so much. Like, I'm a hoe for that.
Yes. That's another book you need to read, Riley. You need to read Phallus Fair.
Please.
I haven't even heard of that.
I finally changed. It's like a campy retelling of Macbeth. Like, Macbeth meets Heathers meets, some people say, Killing Eve, or
Okay. You got me. I'm sold.
It's literally about this hot girl who goes and murders rapists.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like Sadie, but even better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Like,
and we literally have the exact same reading taste, so I'm just gonna tell you to read everything that I love, basically. Does If We Were Villains also have a random Middle Eastern character that is there to be attacked for no reason? No, I don't believe it does.
They're all white.
But that's not a thing, Monty. That doesn't exist because there's no racism in the book. So
does that happen in The Secret History?
It takes place in a different time.
What was that, Riley?
I said, is that something that happens in A Secret History?
Oh yeah, like it comes out of, I think they're in like I think they're in a taxi, and I think it's like a taxi driver who's like a Middle Eastern taxi driver. And yeah, it's just unnecessary, completely unnecessary. Nothing had anything to do with the plot, but like that truly had nothing to do with the book at all. So, and there's just constant homophobia as well, but people say that it's not homophobia because there's like 5 gay characters, even though none of them are really gay. I think except one of them is confirmed gay, and he's like the most homophobic of them all. So it's just a mess. And there's incest in the plot in the book as well. Nobody talks about that. With like the only female character that like has like 3 lines in the book. Like, she does not speak. It's a mess.
Wow.
Oh yeah, the Goldfinch they dropped the N-word in the Goldfinch, I believe. So no. Oh, it's a random TV. Okay, that's right. See, I don't even remember.
If We Were Villains definitely has its problematic elements for sure. I'm not gonna like sit here and say it doesn't. But like, I personally, I have like tried to read The Secret History before, and I could never get into it. I could never get past like 2 chapters, and like maybe it's because I had the audiobook for If We Were Villains or whatever. But like, it just flowed so much better, and I like enjoyed the mystery so much better. Even though they were dumbasses, and the whole like murder thing, like it just didn't need to. It didn't happen.
See, I don't even remember that. So that's on me. Probably because I wasn't paying attention. So does that mean that she said the word in the audiobook? I'm sure she couldn't have. There's no way. Like, she couldn't have, right? She couldn't have, right? I don't know.
I'm going to do some research into that. Oh, Monty said yeah.
That's a choice.
Really? I do not remember. I feel like I would have remembered that, but I guess I didn't. I guess maybe I just was not paying attention. Wow, that is crazy.
And, they'll do it like it's for the purposes of art. It's the academic reasons, like it, whatever. But like no.
I do remember her saying derogatory names towards the Middle Eastern character. I do. Wow, people really stand this woman and try to say, like, I have so many comments on my review saying that there's no racism in that book. Like, straight up, no racism. None. Like, there's a comment, like, being like, I'm confused. Is it only racist because we're only following white people? No common sense. Anyways, if you guys have any other questions for us, we're coming up on an hour and 10 minutes, or any topics or anything. Love to have them. Love to see them. Donna Tartt, man, crazy. I think dark academia can be good if we're following queer people of color. But then people would be like, this isn't dark academia. So that's just a fact. People would be like, no, wouldn't happen. All right. Well, thank you, Riley, for coming on. And sorry we didn't pick a better book. Hopefully we can maybe do this again, maybe with a better book. I don't know. But I appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. And thank you, Carly, again for being here, but you kind of have to, so
it's my job.
Yes. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. And
someone said, have y'all read Night House? And yes, I have, and I enjoyed it. But
no, I haven't.
Not enough, but I did it.
So that will not be happening. But thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a fantastic day and a fantastic reading experience.
Bye.